Hi there, my name is Tom Bell and welcome to my 5-minute Friday videocast on the 6th of June 2025. I am an author, a consultant, an educator, a speaker and a trainer, and also a full-time PhD student. Who'd have thought at the age of 57? There you go. So this week I'd like to talk about what constitutes a strong view. What is a strong view now and how do we determine what a strong view is? And the reason I'd like to talk about that is that I sent an email, as many people in the UK I'm sure have done over recent weeks, months and the years, sent an email to my MP about the situation in Gaza. It's not the first email that I've sent to him about the situation. He's a fairly young chap. Marcus Campbell-Savers is his name. I remember meeting his dad, actually, when his dad was a Labour MP for the area. Marcus isn't a bad lad, and he's the first Labour MP that we've had in this particular patch for many, many years. So in theory, that's progress, I guess. No offence to Rory Stewart, who I have to say was a very good local MP. Well, even though he was a Tory, let's let that one slide, shall we? So I sent off an email to Marcus Campbell-Savers, and I was really just asking for what I would think are some basic things to happen. I asked for his view on the state of what was going on in Gaza. I asked for him to endorse a full ceasefire, to stop the issuing of arms-related licenses, all the kind of basic stuff that you'd think. And the reason I asked for him to do that was that the context being that actually there's a genocide occurring here in front of all our eyes. We can see it. I find it quite disturbing that people like Jeremy Bourne from the BBC still talk about this as a war, as if we've got two equal sides banging against each other here. Nonsense, Jeremy. It's a massacre. It's a one-sided massacre, and you are intelligent enough to know that. I appreciate that you might not be able to tell it like you see it, or as it is actually, being part of the BBC's machine. You're not helping the case for you're not helping the case for mass media. Let's put it that way. You're playing into the hands of people like Trump when you aren't able to tell it how you see it, because you just start to make the media look kind of redundant, really. So it's not a war, it's a massacre, we get that. It's a genocide that's occurring. And I asked my MP for his position on it. And I expressed what I thought, and talked about the deaths of children and the deaths of civilians and starvation and the decimation of an entire land and an entire people. And his response, I appreciate he's an MP, he's got to be a bit careful, hasn't he? And maybe that's part of the problem as well. But his response was to thank me for my email in which I expressed strong views. Strong views. When are we as humans supposed to express strong views? I remember somebody telling me many years ago after a miscarriage of justice that they'd received a letter from the organisation in question, who had been supposed to be overseeing the process of justice, saying that they understood their disappointment. Disappointment's something, isn't it? You know, I've always said this, it's kind of disappointment's what you feel when the Bluetooth doesn't connect on your phone to your car, yeah? But when are we supposed to have strong feelings? Some of us might scream, by the way, at our Bluetooth when it does that, but when are we supposed to have strong feelings? When are we allowed strong feelings? When is it right to have strong feelings? I would suggest now's the time to have strong feelings in relation to what's going on in Gaza. That's not me saying for a second, by the way, that this is the only time in my life that I've had strong feelings. There are lots of things to feel incredibly strongly about in the world as it stands at the moment, and there have been in all the decades that I've been alive. And I like to think I've spoken up and out on most of them. Certainly most of those that I know about. But to come back to me, to say to me that I've got strong views because I don't want to see people being killed and children being killed and children being injured and civilians being injured and killed and people being starved to death and their homes being blown up, you get the gist. Is that not the time to have a strong view? We're still, even though there's a shift occurring, we're still in this pattern with MPs and the mass media, aren't we, where they're just not acknowledging what's going on here. They're just not getting it. And he's, in his reply to me, my local MP is still talking about, well, we can't do this and we can't do that and we can't because it wouldn't be effective. And, we've got to stay at the table and be able to negotiate. And that was what Thatcher said in response to apartheid. She kept apartheid going by participating in it. Every other country in the world was saying we shouldn't be trading with South Africa at the time that it was under apartheid. And Britain was going, oh, no, it's fine. We need to be trading with them so we can have a discussion at the table. That's the language of appeasement, isn't it? It's Chamberlain's language with Hitler. That's where we're basically too scared to do the right thing. And I think the right thing to do in this case is so bleeding obvious, isn't it? The right thing to do for this country is to pull in whoever they need to pull in from the top of the diplomatic ranks at the Israeli embassy, lay down the law to them about what we as a nation will tolerate. Although that seems kind of crackers me even saying that, doesn't it? Because what will we as a nation tolerate? It seems we're prepared to tolerate this stuff. I absolutely take my hat off to Greta Thunberg, who is just stuck herself on a ship along with other people, and I'm sure she's not the only one, by the way. It's not the Greta story, but her presence there is doubtless helping, and she's just doing the right thing, isn't she? She doesn't need permission from someone to do the right thing. It's as if our MPs are just constrained. Our media is constrained. There's no sense of moral outrage here, is there? And just a straightforward recognition of what is going on. It's not a war, it's a genocide. These are not legitimate things that are happening to people over there. These are war crimes being played out in front of us. The very fact that the free press, the media, whatever you want to call it, is not even allowed into Gaza at the moment, I think that tells you all you need to know about what's going on there. So if you haven't done it already, I would encourage you to write to your MP, email your MP, express your strong views if you wish, if you do have strong views on people being killed and decimated and damaged and destroyed in full view of us all. That's crazy, isn't it? We're saying those things out loud and it's just occurring. It's just happening. There's a sort of a madness, a collective madness in all of this, isn't there? On that note, I'm going to shut up. I've exceeded my 5 minutes, haven't I? So try and stay sane this weekend if you can. Try and stay solvent if you can. And certainly try and stay safe if you can. And remember that while we're doing all those things, there are many people who can't. That's not me saying let's strip the fun out of life, but let's just bear that in mind. Yeah. Okay. Ciao.